Well, hey everyone, I'm Heather Pristansky, and I'm super excited to be here for day 3 of this gift, where we are talking about transitioning your sales into a more loving approach. Now, today we're going to talk about something really important, and that is 7 fantastic questions to ask when you're on a sales call. Now, this works in pretty much any industry without adjustment. If you're selling a low-cost product, you probably don't need to ask as many of these questions. If you are selling high-ticket items, which is my specialty, then you may want to ask more of these questions to really get into what your prospect is feeling. And I'm going to dive into the psychology of each of these questions as well, so that you can get a better understanding for why it is that we need to do this, why it is that we need to connect in with the person that we're speaking to, why it is that we need to understand and get to this deeper emotional level when we are selling to them. And it's not just to make them feel good, to make you feel good about selling, right? It's also to help them move past that state of normal. So in video number 1 on the first day, we talked about how we are addicted to our state of normal, and it's very difficult for us to be able to break that addiction, because we know that breaking an addiction takes a lot of effort and it takes some pain. And so we tend to want to avoid pain. We tend to want to avoid doing the work. And so we tend to not take the action, even if it's something that we really and deeply want for ourselves, and even if it's going to better our life. So when we talk about these questions, I want you to think about them in terms of you are helping this individual to really feel into whether or not this is the best decision for them. Okay. And most of the time what you're going to find is the fact that they're even on the phone with you to begin with, that means that it probably is a really good decision, that, or it probably is something that they really want, or else it wouldn't have been on the phone with you to begin with, right? Okay. So let's dive into these questions here. So the first question is, tell me what compelled you to get on the phone with me today. Now, this question is important because it is going to help to determine how much work you have to do. They might say, I got on the phone with you today because I know that I'm ready to do this, and I know that you're the person to take me there. I just need the logistics and the details. Cool, I can give you those things and we're good to go, right? Doesn't usually happen that way, but in some cases it does. And so those are your shotgun decision makers, and you can often get right to the point and get into that close stage without too much more, as long as you have some of the other elements of the loving sales process in place ahead of time. So we're going to talk more about the loving sales process on day 7 of this, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But as long as you have that and you kind of understand that this person is a good fit, you may ask a few more other qualifying questions, but you can basically hop into the close at that point. This also helps you to understand some of the things that they may be struggling with, or what they think the problem is, even though you know that the problem might not be that thing. And that's really important, to get a little bit deeper than the surface level of their answer to really understand what's going on. So they may say, well, the reason that I'm on this call with you today, Heather, is because I want to be able to create more impact, and I want to be able to reach more people through my services. Now, that may be the case. However, a lot of times when people are struggling with sales, right, what happens is, I know on a deeper level that they may be fearful that they're not going to be able to sell their offer, that they're not going to be able to hit this level of validation that they're looking for with the products and services that they serve. It might mean that they're even seeking validation in the product itself, right? So there are a lot of underlying things that could be happening based on that surface level question. So it's really important to understand the story that they're telling themselves, and this question will help to draw that out, okay? Question number 2 is, what have you tried that in the past has worked well, and what hasn't worked so well? Okay, and this is in relation to whatever it is that you help them do. Now, This could be for a product. So I used to sell leggings, and I'd say, well, what sorts of patterns have you tried in the past that hasn't looked so great, and what types of things has looked great? And then the next follow-up question to that is just, why do you think this is the case? Now, the bread and butter of this question really is in the why, because you need to understand, again, what is their story around why they think that that thing works. This is also going to help you to weed out the people who you know just aren't ready to do the things that they need to do in order to get the result that they want. So what I look for when people are talking to me and I say, well, what hasn't worked for you when it comes to client creation, right? Why do you think that's the case? When they say, well, I've tried everything, it just hasn't worked, right? Then usually I know, okay, this person is kind of in the story that they're a victim. They feel that they've tried everything, but if they've literally tried everything and nothing's even moved the needle a little bit, then they probably aren't really trying. Right? So I look for that victim mentality within the answer to this question. And that's really important, right? You're looking for people who are in that right mindset, who are ready to receive what it is that you have to offer. And what you can do is, if that person is not ready to receive, if you know at that point that you need to release that call, you can do so lovingly to say, okay, well, based on that information, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to help you at this point in time. So I'm going to refer you off to this resource that I have, or this free resource that I have, or this other person who I think you'd be a better fit for. Okay. Number 3 is to ask, what symptoms of this problem keep showing up in your life? So if you have trouble with creating clients inside of your business, what are some symptoms of that lack of clients that keep showing up in your life? So maybe it's that, well, I run into panic at the end of every month on how I'm going to pay my bills. I always have been able to kind of make it happen, but it's a very stressful point inside of my month, or maybe inside of my quarter. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes, and I need that consistent and steady flow to get outside of this zone of craziness, right? Okay, cool. And then you can ask, what else? What other symptoms show up in your life? Well, I feel like I am just totally mean to my husband because I'm always in stress, because I'm always stressing out about where I'm going to get clients, because I know that I need to replace my corporate income, right? Where else is this showing up in your life? Well, it also means that I've had to stay inside of my corporate job, which means that I can't give as much time to my clients, which means that I can't serve them as fully as I would want to, right? So question number 4 is, what's holding you back from reaching this goal? Now, you may have already gotten some of this answer in the symptoms, but what we're really looking for here are the roadblocks and challenges that they've experienced when it comes to reaching the goal. So what's holding you back from consistently creating clients? And where I want to stop them from going is into like the mindset pieces. And I want to go into more of the tactical pieces, right? So what do you think is missing from your client creation strategy in order for you to move that needle forward? And a lot of my clients say, well, it's a lack of clarity. I've tried a whole bunch of different things, and maybe some things have worked a little bit, some things haven't worked at all. I just need a really clear path in how it is that I'm going to create these clients on a consistent basis. Question number 5, is this 5? Yeah, it's 5. So question number 5 is, if this change were to happen, how would that impact you personally? So if I were to reword that sort of for my world, right, I might say, if you were able to consistently create clients, how would that impact you on a personal level? How would that impact your family? How would that impact your life? And then we're going to ask question number 6, which is, what outcome do you hope to achieve in working together? So this is where we really want to get a feel for what is the promise that they're looking for from you, right? So they might say, well, I want to be able to create 10K months, so then I know where I'm going to match them in terms of my offer is going to be into my 4-month Loving Sales container, where I do have a guarantee that you will be able to create $10,000 in sales to essentially pay back the investment of that program. So you're going to be able to learn how to do that and learn how to replicate that. And if we don't meet that goal, I'm going to continue working with you until we do meet that goal, right? So this is really important because this question is going to help us to match not only what we know they need, but also what they think they need in order to move forward. So this is pre-handling some objections as well, because we are getting into, okay, these are the pieces that we know this person needs. Now, if they say, I don't really want a lot of accountability, I might say, okay, where I'm gonna put you instead is maybe into my mastermind group, because that's not something whereby we're going to be on you to make sure that you're completing every single thing every single week. Because if I'm going to back it with a guarantee, right, like I need to make sure that you do the work, right? So some people, a lot of high performance people, they love accountability and they love being able to showcase the fact that they can deliver on things. But a lot of people who are maybe lower in accountability typically are people who have struggled for a long time, have lower amounts of confidence, and I need to put them into something that has a little bit more of a mindset component and helps to change the way that they think versus just strictly tactical. And then the last question, and this one's important because again, we're going to help to pre-handle some of those objections. If you had no restrictions on money, time, family, etc., what changes would you make in relation to this problem? So if money, time, and family weren't an issue, what changes would you make to your client creation strategy right now? Right? So they might say things like, well, if money were an issue, I'd throw a bunch of money behind ads. Cool. So maybe I have something whereby, okay, awesome, we can do this for a low cost ad spend, or we can do this for a no cost ad spend. And this is the way that we want to filter people into this, right? I also now know, okay, well, maybe investment is going to be a bit of an issue. So I need to get them into something that either has a guarantee or a low monthly cost, right? If time was not an issue, what would you do right now in relation to this problem? Well, I'd have more sales conversations on the books. Maybe I'm in corporate right now. And so maybe then I'm thinking, well, are they really going to have the time to implement the programs and to implement the changes in order to receive the promise that they just told me that they want? Is it actually achievable for them to get to this level without quitting their job first, right? And if it's not, then we can have that discussion to say, well, here are the things that you're going to need to do. Where are you going to find the time for that, right? And so is there a way that we can transition and for you to feel really comfortable in maybe we sell people into a container that is 2 months down the road start time, so that you have a little bit more time to fill those slots instead of just quitting your job and like really just hoping for the best, right? If you had no restrictions around family, what changes would you make? Well, maybe you would actually start work at a certain time and end work at a certain time. So maybe there are some issues with childcare. We don't have childcare, and so you're getting a lot of interruptions. We can talk about some performance systems that we have that will help you to deal with that on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so I hope that these questions were helpful. I'm going to recap them one more time. So number one was, tell me what compelled you to get on the phone with me today. Number two was, what have you tried in the past that's worked well? What hasn't worked well? Why do you think this is the case? And the why was the key there, right? What symptoms of this problem keep showing up in your life? What's holding you back from reaching this goal? If this change were to happen, how would that impact you personally? What outcome do you hope to achieve in working together? And if you had no restrictions on money, time, and family, what changes would you make in relation to this problem? So I hope that this was really helpful for you. I am so excited to be here with you for day 3. One more call to action for you if you haven't done this already. I need you to hop on over to the link above this video, or it's also in the message that you got on Messenger if you're part of the sequence as well. But I need you to hop on over there and fill out your client creation scorecard. So what this is going to help you do is it's going to help you to analyze the pieces of your client creation strategy that you really need to work on in order to move the needle, in order to create more of a flow for your clients, or to bring clients into your business, okay? Because we're talking in this about sales, we're talking in this about really that's a conversion pillar of the client creation strategy, but there are 4 other really important pillars that really support this conversion strategy. And if you don't have those other ones in play, then your conversion strategy, your sales strategy is not going to be as effective. So I want you to click on that link. I want you to fill out the scorecard. You're going to get your scorecard results via email, and you'll also get it immediately sort of once you fill everything out. And that's going to help you to really dive into where is it, like which one of these pillars do you need to focus on first in order to move the needle? Is there 2 or 3 pillars that are broken, or all 5 broken? Is it just one broken? It's going to help you to figure all those things out. All right. So I will see you tomorrow for day number 4. And in day number 4, what we're going to be talking about is your role inside of sales calls, and how your role is not actually to get people to say yes. And of course, we want people to say yes because we want those crazy high close rates. But your job is not actually to get people to say yes. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that role is, and that will help to take some of that pressure off to be pushy or to get a decision. And it will also take some of the pressure off because you're still going to be leading that prospect into a decision. So it's also going to take some of that follow-up pressure off and some of that awkwardness that happens after you make the proposal where they're like, I have to think about it, right? It's going to take some of that out as well. So I'm excited to see you tomorrow, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.